The most important thing for a teacher to know is not the subject they are teaching. It is the manner in which people are not going to understand the subject they are teaching. Okay, there's two things. One, I do think a mistake that I think a lot of people make. I used to be a teacher, and the most important thing for a teacher to know is not the subject they are teaching. It is the manner in which people are not going to understand the subject they are teaching. That's the most important thing for you to know. How might you not get this? That answer is going to be different for different kinds of people. So there is not a standard presentation, which I think before we got the big group in here, I was mentioning how I usually do not write down, rehearse, or structure my presentations. I structure the logic, right? I know the logic. The logic is branching. So if you're talking to, for example, business people who have hired a creative company, or in the case of Disney, the creative division, are trusting that you are creative. You don't need to demonstrate to them that you are creative. They paid you for that. You need to demonstrate that the idea is feasible, that their trust in your creativity is going to pay off with feasibility. Animal Kingdom was a great lesson in this. Nobody questioned whether it was a neat idea to have animals. They questioned whether it could be done at all. And since the strategic planning division of the company had decided it couldn't be done, the only people working on whether it could be done was myself and my team, which means we needed to learn how to talk about what makes things possible, not what makes them cool. What makes this possible? So that means you have to have multiple ways of talking about your project, which is much easier if your project is not a material thing. If you spend all your time describing the material thing, the burden is then on whether or not that other person can read into that material thing what you intend to say. So I start with everyone, regardless, by saying, look, the underlying purpose of this project is to express X, Y, Z through a series of things like this. That is why you're going to hear me talk about blah, blah, and blah. I also tend to go into me and go, look, here's who we are. Here's what we've done. Here's what we think. That's why we're making the decisions we're making. We are in the room today because we need you to focus on X, Y, and Z. And what I'm hoping to get back from you is this. And then go into the thing with, here's the thematic idea. I think we all agree this is a legitimate thematic idea. Yes? Almost always answer is yes. And if that idea is legitimate, you could see how evidence like this makes it look like you could tell. If you saw a place like this, it feels like it's about that. Yes? Yes, we all agree that. Okay, to date, we've done this much work. We're now here. So we need to talk about the menu. How is this menu going to express these values? How can it express these values? That's the question to you. I'm not telling you, you tell me. Here's the values, here's everything that's been done to that. How might you express this? For example, between Star Wars and Avatar, both food environments on some other world, right? Food environments in a fictional world. At Animal Kingdom, we decided, look, what's more important is the perception that the food is sourced sustainably, is healthy, and is natural. That is thematically consistent with the intention of the project. I don't really care if it looks like a grub or has a fancy name. That's not what the project's about. The project is about this idea of living in such a way that you don't ruin everything you touch. So how can the food be about that? And we will serve that food, right? So go, think of ways to source sustainable food. Think of ways to present healthy food alternatives to people. Think about that. And then come up with avatar names for this stuff. That's different from the food must masquerade as something inside the world story. And therefore, we need to really, really, really talk materially about the shape language of the food and the goofy details of the food, et cetera, to make it seem like it's inside the story from a plot line. That's theme and plot. They're very different ways of leading in. You could have chosen either one. We chose theme. And partly we chose theme because I want the maximum degree of autonomous freedom from each contributor, because I'm going to get the richest, most invested response. So rather than telling them what I want, I'm telling them what we're all trying to do, and they can tell me what they can do.